Around the World, Getting Lost in Greece with Linda. Welcome, I'm so glad to meet you. On my first senior solo trip, I flew to Greece to join a tour group. This was my first time abroad, and I was nervous yet excited. I'm going to tell you a bit about traveling overseas to Greece, and then I'm going to share the must-see sights of Greece and show you photos I've taken of my favorite places that I got lost in. Wait for it. I will finish with Greek dancing and my favorite dessert recipe, which you may want to make yourself. Greek food is amazing, so I hope you will stay to the end for this delicious recipe. Before we get started, please like, share, and subscribe so you receive a notification every time I post a new video. Greece is an ancient country with a rich history of ruins both above and below the ground. Their history dates back thousands of years and includes great teachers such as Socrates and Aristotle. Alexander the Great spread Greek culture worldwide. Greece gave us democracy and the Olympic Games. The word Acropolis isn't actually a building, but rather it means the top of the mountain. Getting up there can be a challenge. Over 200 steep steps, many worn and broken, set on uneven ground. There are 4 pathways, with the northern entrance being the easiest yet still a challenge. Depending on your walking ability, you may want to bring a walker with a seat to rest or walking sticks. I have a lightweight, collapsible chair that I can carry over my shoulder like a purse. I love that I can stop and sit whenever my old back groans. I didn't know until after my visit that there's an elevator, but you need to make an advance reservation to use it. Once on the Acropolis, you will want to visit the museum. Learning about the architecture, history, and Greek art will make the ruins more meaningful. There are long lines to get in, but you can buy a ticket online to skip them. This modern, world-class museum displays original sculptures, artifacts, and treasures unearthed from the Acropolis and its surrounding slopes. The museum's design features glass floors and walls, allowing you to see ongoing excavations below. There are extensive protected ruins throughout Greece that pose challenges for builders and limit subway construction. One museum I visited had a glass floor where visitors could stand over rows of coffins. To my disappointment, the bodies or bones had been removed. The buildings on the Acropolis are crumbling, but ongoing restoration projects are preserving it and restoring it to its splendor. I observed scaffolding and work underway on the Parthenon during my visit. The project was completed in September 2025, and the scaffolding was finally removed after 20 years. This completed the first phase, but lighter scaffolding remains for final conservation work on the western facade. The restoration is expected to conclude in 2026, after which the Parthenon will be fully visible, free of scaffolding. Restoration and conservation efforts continue on other monuments, including the prehistoric Mycenaean Wall, the Temple of Athena, and other classical monuments. These projects focus on structural stability, conservation, and improved visitor access while maintaining historical accuracy. I took a boat ride to the island of Santorini. The island is one of the best known, famous for its lime-washed villages. Once a year, all the houses are washed with a mixture of calcium hydroxide and water, leaving them white and protected from the harsh mountain sun while also helping to cool them. It also acts as a natural disinfectant. The island, formed by volcanoes, lies in the Aegean Sea. Around 1600 BC, a volcanic eruption far more violent than Pompeii destroyed half the island, leaving the Bronze Age city of Akrotiri buried in ash. Unlike Pompeii, no human remains have been found. It is believed there was enough warning for people to evacuate. When half the island blew up, it left a huge hole called a caldera, which filled with water. The island now forms a C-shaped mountain surrounding the caldera. I took a bus ride up the mountain on a narrow ledge carved into a road. Heavy cement blocks lined the outside edge to prevent cars or buses from falling over the side. The bus I was riding in got too close and struck one of the blocks. I was petrified. I saw my life flash before my eyes. Eventually, the bus arrived safely at the top of the mountain and at the winery. Santorini's vineyards are among the oldest in the world, with grape cultivation dating back to prehistoric times. The soil is a mix of volcanic ash, pumice, lava, and rust, creating a hard, nutrient-rich ground called a spa, which is excellent for growing grapes. The mountain is windy all year, too windy for grapes to grow upright on a trellis, so they are trained to grow along the ground in a circle, forming a basket called coulera. The outer vines protect the young grapes, which thrive and produce fruit. Wine is stored and aged in wooden barrels. I took a few photos of the flower garden, featuring its unique plants. The next stop on the tour was the city of Chania on the island of Crete. The tour guide walked us around the square and discussed Chania's history. We were shown the mosque called Giali Tizami. It was used for worship until the early 20th century, when the Muslim population left Crete following the population exchange between Greece and Turkey. The mosque served various purposes throughout its history, but it was closed when I visited. We also viewed the Jewish temple in Chania, Etz Hayyim Synagogue. In May 1944, during the Nazi occupation, the entire Jewish community of Chania, about 263 people, was removed from the island and loaded onto a cargo ship, the Tanais, along with other prisoners. The ship was torpedoed by a British submarine that mistook it for a Nazi vessel. It sank, killing everyone on board. This tragedy ended the Jewish presence in Crete. The temple was closed when I visited, but I was able to take photos from outside. I found it fascinating that modern buildings were erected directly atop the ruins. While visiting Chania, we toured a craft market where artists, farmers, and vendors sold their wares. This was my first group tour, and I made the mistake of not inquiring about the other travelers. I found myself among a group of young people in their late 20s and early 30s who did not appreciate someone in their midst who was slower and sometimes struggled with physical challenges, such as the 200 rough steps at the Acropolis. When the group was sent off on their own, I found myself alone and was perfectly fine with that. I wandered around the market, fascinated by the crafts and unfamiliar foods. I watched the time, and soon it was time to leave, so I headed for the meeting location. When I arrived, I couldn't find anyone. After waiting a few minutes and realizing no one was coming, I called the tour guide and learned that I had gone about a mile in the wrong direction. Rather than giving me directions, he told me to wait while he came to pick me up. Walking back to the group, I felt as if I were nearly running, fighting through the back pain to keep up. Needless to say, I was persona non grata for the rest of the day. After that, I always ask about the group's age and physical requirements before booking a tour, and I make sure I have a photo and a written return address before leaving the safety of the group or cruise. When visiting Greece, you will experience Greek music at local festivals, taverns, and concerts. Singing and dancing were everywhere. I spent a very enjoyable time listening to two young girls sing traditional Greek songs in front of a restaurant. Young girls sing traditional Greek songs in front of a restaurant. Food in Greece is among the best in the world. I was expecting to enjoy lamb gyros in Greece, but the choices were chicken or pork. Lamb was very expensive and rarely sold in restaurants. I had the opportunity to attend a cooking class where we danced while the syrup boiled and thickened, then poured it over a cake. Unfortunately, I was too busy dancing around the table to take any pictures, but I did manage to capture a short video of the teacher, who was incredibly entertaining.
No, guys, please, oh my God, do you want me to have a heart attack? No. So, Stella, my beautiful assistant, and the star of the Greek kitchen, of course, and she's responsible for the wine, by the way, she's going to leave you some ingredients. Please, don't do anything. I need to let you know first what you're going to do, okay?
There are always surprises, and going to a foreign country isn't going to be anything like I expected. I found the ruins interesting, but not nearly as fascinating as the music, the food, or the people. It was a wonderful yet challenging trip that marked the beginning of my around-the-world adventures. I hope you will join me on my future travels and enjoy a taste of portakalapita, the best Greek cake you will ever taste.